little piece of legalese, and that is the views expressed on today's program do not necessarily reflect those of the U.S. Department of Commerce. So with that out of the way, let me thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Congressman Joe Courtney's office had approached us to put on this program, given that there are so many great agricultural producers, both in the 2nd District in Connecticut and frankly, across the state. So we're really pleased to bring together 2 excellent partners who, when I approached them about this program, very, very enthusiastically gave thumbs up and said, yes, absolutely, we'll be happy to help present on this program. So with us today, we have our federal partners with the Food Export USA, the Northeast office, as well as our state partner with the Connecticut Department of Agriculture. We're going to start off with some pre-recorded remarks from Congressman Joe Courtney. So Jackie, we can go to the video. Thank you.
Hi, this is Congressman Joe Courtney. I'm speaking to you from my office in Norwich, and just want to say welcome to all the participants at the webinar that the U.S. Department of Commerce is hosting for great information to share with food producers in our state about ways that they can expand their business by getting involved in export of their, really, I think, very high demand products. The Department of Commerce Export Assistance Center is one of the GEM programs of the federal government that for little or no cost gives small businesses, and in this case agriculture producers, the opportunity to connect to new markets overseas, which is again so important in a small state like ours, to make sure again that people get the maximum opportunity to grow their business, grow their farms, expand their customer base, again, using the federal government as a partner. The Export Assistance Center is a office that we have worked with for many years, and you can really trust them for good information and good connections. And I hope, again, today's webinar really results in a lot of good follow-up activity that's going to help make what I think is one of the most impressive sectors of the Connecticut economy, namely agriculture, grow and thrive for the future. So again, enjoy the webinar. I look forward to hearing all the good after action reports in terms of new successful opportunities. And certainly we in my office intend to keep working with the Export Assistance Center to make sure that its mission is successful. Thank you.
And thank you again to Congressman Courtney and his office for providing those remarks. Very much appreciate it. As I mentioned before, we have one of our great state partners with us. Very pleased to introduce Commissioner Brian Herbert. I normally truncate bios, but his is so impressive that I'm gonna read it all out for you. He's got quite an impressive background. So before being named Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Agriculture, Brian Herbert was Executive Director of the Connecticut Farm Bureau Association, which is the state's largest and oldest agricultural organization. And in this role, he advocated on behalf of its members to promote policies that enhance the economic viability of agriculture in the state. And prior to joining the Farm Bureau, the commissioner worked as Senior Vice President of Program Operations at Wholesome Wave, which is a not-for-profit organization headquartered in Bridgeport, Connecticut, dedicated to empowering underserved consumers to make healthier food choices by making fresh food more available. And in 2013, he was appointed by then President Barack Obama to serve as Connecticut State Executive Director for the U.S. Department of Ag's Farm Service Agency. And in that position, he was responsible for overseeing the agency's crop protection, disaster relief, and loan programs. And during that time, he instituted a program to use the agency's 6 field offices to better serve Connecticut farmers and to help them navigate the different state, federal, local programs that are available to help them and their farm operations. So with that, Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us and look forward to your comments.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you to your team for putting this on, and to Congressman Courtney's team and to the Congressman himself for recognizing how important this opportunity is and how valuable the services are. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody today. and to have Erin Windham on our team at the Department of Agriculture talk about the opportunities that we at the Department of Agriculture can support through our food export program. A lot of people think that, maybe we don't do a lot of export of our ag products here in the state, and that's just frankly not true. Erin and the programs that we run have helped many farm operations over the course of the tenure to help navigate and guide through that process of exporting Connecticut grown goods, value added processed goods into international markets. There are a number of different tools and programs that are available, including trade missions that farmers and interested participants can join in to go overseas and learn more about these potential markets. And so I hope people take advantage of that. If this is your first time thinking about food export or value added processing, or how you can increase the share of the dollar of the products that you produce on your farm, thank you for taking that first step. I want to let you know, though, that we have other programs that can help you along that process as well in the Department of Agriculture before you get to the export stage. We've put a lot of attention and resources behind increasing the resiliency of the food system here in the state of Connecticut, supporting commercial kitchens, value-added processing, and the development of value-added goods. And I encourage you to take a look at those programs as well as you get started in this journey. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and for the interest in the program. I'll turn it back over to you, Melissa, and thank you again for you and your team to make sure that there was time for this important subject.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Very much appreciate you taking time out of your day and for your remarks. So we have some excellent presentations today, as the Commissioner mentioned. From the Connecticut Department of Agriculture, we have Erin Windham. Erin is an agriculture marketing and inspection representative with the Connecticut Department of Ag. Before coming to the Connecticut Department of Ag, Erin spent many years as a commercial farmer. She works in the Bureau of Ag Development and Resource Conservation, coordinating the food export program, the Farmers Market Nutrition Program, farmers markets, and the Connecticut Food Policy Council. Erin holds a bachelor's degree in plant science from the University of Connecticut and a bachelor's degree in biology from Westfield State University. Erin, thank you so much. We very much look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you again to your team and Congressman Courtney's team for inviting us to share this information. We are really excited to be here and just really pleased with the relationship that we have with food export and growing our exports from Connecticut. So just a little bit about our agency. Wanted to share some resources that we have and how we work with food export as a state member. Go to the next slide. Let's see. Okay, so at the Department of Agriculture, our mission is to foster healthy economic, environmental, and social climate for agriculture by developing, promoting, and regulating agricultural businesses, protecting agricultural and aquaculture resources, enforcing laws pertaining to domestic animals, and promoting an understanding among the state's citizens of the diversity of Connecticut agriculture, its cultural heritage, and its contribution to the state's economy. And so our agency has a lot of legs, and we have a lot of programs that most people aren't aware of. So we have our Commissioner's Office, we have our Bureau of Ag Development and Resource Conservation, where I sit. We also have our Bureau of Aquaculture, which sits in Milford at their labs, and the Bureau of Regulatory Services. And with all of that, we are doing a lot of regulatory work, animal control work, working with our shell fishermen and our seafood producers, and working on a lot of marketing as well as land preservation. In the Bureau of Ag Development and Resource Conservation, our goal is to expand relationships and encourage consumption of Connecticut farm products, and to preserve and safeguard Connecticut farmland and farmland soils through programs and services which enable agribusiness to expand their markets and capacity for agricultural sustainability. One of those programs is working with Food Export Northeast, but we also have several other programs that, as Commissioner mentioned, are a resource maybe before folks have decided to take that jump into exporting or have not reached that point in their business where they're ready to do that. Our Connecticut Grown program is our marketing program where we work to just expose people to the many different facets of Connecticut ag. And I think that people are just unaware of all of the programs that we have. Pretty much in Connecticut, we do just about every crop there is, perhaps with the exception of some of the larger commodities, but we do those on a small scale as well. So we have our vegetable and fruit producers, our wineries, cideries, seafoods, cheeses, dairy, and pretty much anything else you can think of. Some of the services that we offer fall under grants. So we do try to help our producers financially. We have our farm transition grant, our farm viability grant, and specialty crop block, which I will discuss in a little bit. As I said, I work on our farmers market nutrition program to help get our seniors and WIC participants that are underserved access to local Connecticut grown food. We have our organic cost share reimbursement program so that those organic certified producers don't have to carry all of that burden of expense that goes along with certifying as an organic producer. Our weekly ag report shares information regarding Connecticut ag resources, educational programs, job postings, whole slew of information that folks find interesting as they're looking at the ag industry. We have our Milk Promotion Board and our Apple Marketing Board, just a couple of the boards, councils, and commissions that our agency is responsible for staffing, as well as the Food Policy Council, Farm Wine Development Council. We also work on Farm to School, helping our producers become more involved in getting Connecticut grown produce into schools and institutions throughout the state. Farm to Chef, where we work with local restaurants and their chefs to use Connecticut grown products, Connecticut made products. We offer our Connecticut grown store as a way to cost share items like tents that folks need for farmers markets to take part, and branded items for our Connecticut grown brand. Finally, we have our diversity, equity, and inclusion working groups and our emergency feeding and COVID response programs that came as a result of COVID and really needing to pivot to fill a need that wasn't there or was not as apparent before COVID. So our work with food export, we're very lucky to partner with Food Export. We work with them on activities throughout the year. So we help to coordinate trade shows, different services that Food Export offers, which can be a great benefit for our producers here in the state. And I'll let April speak to that. We meet with them so that we are not missing those opportunities as they come forward. We help our producers to reach out and find new markets as they exist. And specifically, like I was saying, that funding piece that helps our producers to really grow and be able to meet the challenges. Couple things that I wanted to point out for producers that are either currently exporting or looking to export their products. The Farm Transition Grant is for producers. It's a competitive matching program that comes out of our agency. It is open to farmers and ag cooperatives to support the diversification, transition, and transition of their products and sales. So helping them to move into an area that they weren't currently in. And recently we have revamped our programs to open it up to a larger audience of producers. So we have our New Farmer Micro Grant that supports new farmers who have 1 full year to 3 years of production history and are seeking long-term careers to support them through farming and agriculture. So this, like I say, is a new category for us, and it's had a really nice response. There are a lot of new farmers in Connecticut that are trying to start their farms and grow their farms. So the maximum award in this area is $5,000, and there is a match requirement of 25%. Again, these are reimbursement grants, so the producer will complete their project and be reimbursed through the agency. Then we have our infrastructure grant to support farmers who've been in production for a minimum of 3 years with infrastructure they need to expand the farm's production and operation. Often we get farmers who are looking to, again, create those commercial kitchens, branch out into new areas where they might expand their products. The maximum award is $20,000 in this category, and the requirement is 50% of the project costs. If anyone would like more information, you can visit our website at ctgrown.gov, or feel free to reach out to us at the agency, and we're happy to answer questions and talk to you about these grants. The research and development grant is really for farms that are looking to expand, to conduct research to assess the viability and development of new product lines, services, or markets. So again, this fits nicely with the food export program, as our farms are looking for new items, new projects with their crops. We have quite a few of our farms that produce jams or salsas or tomato sauces, things of that sort, that fit really well into the food export program. The maximum award in this category is $25,000, and the match is 40%. So it's a little bit of a match, but definitely worth the investment. And we get a lot of folks interested in this program. And finally, innovation and diversification. So this one is for the implementation of a new product or service for market or business expansion after the research and development phase. So you've done your studies and your research on what it is you want to do, and you're finally ready to move into that actual production phase. This is where we would have our producers look. The maximum award here is $49,999 with a match requirement of 50%. So it's a nice program that really is intended to serve producers. And again, if there are questions on that, please feel free to reach out. I also wanted to talk about our Farm Viability Grant. This is a competitive matching grant open to municipalities, regional planning organizations, associations of municipalities, and ag nonprofits. The maximum grant award is $49,999. Again, a reimbursement grant. So projects are completed and then reimbursed. A lot of towns or organizations will take these grants out. For example, the Apple Marketing Board used this grant program to do a marketing program for Connecticut Apple Marketing Board. That went a long way towards exposing folks to our apple producers and all of the different opportunities here in Connecticut for our consumers. These can be local capital projects that foster agricultural viability, including but not limited to processing facilities and farmers markets. Again, fits really nicely into that food export program. Click Kitchen in Willimantic has received grants from us to do different programs under their program that they run. Can also be used for the development and implementation of agricultural friendly land use regulations and local farmland protection strategies that sustain and promote local agriculture. The development of new marketing programs and venues through or in which a majority of products sold are grown in the state. So again, using that Connecticut grown branding and marketing those programs, or the development and implementation of programs and services that promote farm and farmland access and transfer of such farms. So again, geared towards municipalities, organizations, associations, and ag nonprofits. But this can be really helpful when there are those groups behind an organization or group of farmers that are looking for extra funds. Finally, I wanted to talk about the Specialty Crop Lot Grant. This is for products that enhance the competitiveness of specialty crops. That is defined by the USDA. They're defined as fruits, vegetables, dried fruit, tree nuts, maple syrup, honey, horticulture, and nursery crops. These projects must impact and produce measurable outcomes for the specialty crop industry and or the public. So rather than being available for one producer, this grant is intended to support a large group of providers that or producers that are growing specialty crops. There is no minimum or maximum award amount, and there's no match on this grant. And I did want to just share a short video that explains the program a little bit better, so bear with me. I want to make sure that you can hear the video. Apologies, this is not, close the page. Okay. Almost there. Okay.
The Specialty Crop Block Grant Program offers federal funding to state departments of agriculture to support the specialty crop industry. Applicants must apply through state departments of agriculture and could be producer groups, trade associations, nonprofits, or colleges and universities. Grants should focus on improving marketing, training, certifications, food safety, and pest control and plant health for specialty crops, including fruits, vegetables, tree nuts, plants, and/or flowers. Each state or U.S. territory manages its own competitive grant process. Projects should be sustainable and have a measurable impact. Interested in the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program? Reach out to your State Department of Agriculture for more information.
Okay, and I bring up that one. Nope, sorry about that. Hey, my goodness. Okay. Okay, apologies. So I bring up the Specialty Crop Block Grant because many state departments of agriculture have actually used these funds to send producers and producer groups to trade shows, such as the ones that Food Export takes part in. So as folks are thinking about ways that they might use these grants, projects they might do, I did want to bring that up. With that, I think we are saving questions until the end of the programs, but I am happy to answer any questions. Not specific to export. So again, I am happy to answer questions, but we can move along with the program. And if you have any specific questions, my contact information is here. It's also available online. So please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer questions and help in any way I can. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Erin. Really appreciate the valuable information. So now I'm really pleased to introduce one of our federal partners, Apryl King from Food Export USA, the Northeast office. Apryl's the liaison for Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, and Vermont. And Apryl has been working with companies in New England since 2016 to help them achieve their mission of exporting food, beverage, and seafood products. Previously, she worked with the Maine International Trade Center in providing trade research for companies on top markets, foreign regulations, and various other international trade topics. And for the last 4 years, Apryl has been with Food Export Northeast and has continued to work with food, beverage, and seafood companies, guiding them through the resources available from Food Export. As of 2020, she also became a certified global business professional from the National Association of Small Business International Trade Educators. So Apryl, thanks so much for joining and look forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Sorry that I cannot share my camera today. It's not working, but this is me. As Melissa mentioned, I'm a liaison with Food Export Northeast, and I work with companies that are headquartered in Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. So who is Food Export? Food Export is a nonprofit organization, and we work with small and medium-sized producers in the Northeast. Our focus is on value-added agricultural products. Food Export Northeast is funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and our member states. Our member states are the State Department of Agriculture within those states in the Northeast, and we are governed by the Board of Directors, which consists of secretaries, directors, or commissioners of agriculture in our member states. As you can see here, we work with companies anywhere from Delaware to Maine. All the other regions are covered by our sister organizations, the Southern United States Trade Association, the Western United States Trade Association, and Food Export Midwest. Food Export Northeast and Midwest has a strategic alliance, and we have had one for over 20 years, so we can share different resources and be able to provide even more programs and services to the suppliers that we work with. How we conduct a lot of our services, as you will see later on, and I'll explain a little bit more, is through our network of in-market representatives. The in-market representatives live and work in their respective countries and have market-specific knowledge of their products, food products specifically, and the buyers that are in those countries. For some of the products that we work with branded food products, snack products, convenience foods, natural products, specialty foods, private label. We also work with food ingredients, food service products, feed ingredients, pet food, seafood, and various other agricultural products. Some of the benefits of exporting: overseas markets are continuing to grow and open. U.S. food products are known and well received by foreign consumers. It supports U.S. agriculture, of course, and it also increases your sales. It also helps diversify your sales, and you may have heard the term, don't put your eggs in all basket, and that's true for how you sell your products as well. Spreading out how you sell your products and who you sell your product to minimizes the risk if something were to happen, let's say a global pandemic. Also, it can help with the seasonality of products. For example, if you have an ice cream product, your sales are likely up during the summer and down during the winter. And if you can find a country that has opposite seasons of the United States, say Australia, there may be opportunity for steady year-round sales. Also, you can extend product life cycles. Some products became popular and had large spikes of sales, or some products, and then as popularity goes away, so do the sales. And helping diversify markets helps diversify those trends. So we have 3 different types of assistance. We have exporter education, market entry, which gets you introduced to international buyers, and a market promotion program, which is a reimbursement program for international marketing. To access any of our programs, you must register for a free account online, and then you will be able to register for our programs and services. Companies can choose the programs and services that they see fit without having to pay a membership fee, but there is, depending on the activity, sometimes a low cost associated with it. To dive into more of those programs, education is a key part of our mission to help companies that have both either never exported before or experienced companies who need to stay up to date on international trade. The majority of our educational services are available at no cost to you. Our educational services include Export Essentials. They're about 25-minute modules that go over the basics of exporting and what you need to know. This is a great place to start, and is something that you can access anytime since they're available online. Our webinars, they're typically about an hour long, and we have a variety of topics, anywhere from the basics of exporting to new labeling changes in Mexico. We have some companies that use our webinars and Export Essentials as their training materials and resources for their new staff that handle international sales. We also have seminars. These are typically in person, focus on a specific topic like exporting to Canada. Our market entry programs are there to help you research potential markets and get introduced to international buyers. These programs are heavily subsidized, but there is a low cost to the program. The Market Builder program includes a market scan and a rep finder. For a market scan, a company chooses which product they would like research done on and in which country. So for example, you might have maple syrup going to South Korea. Then, using our network of in-market representatives, they will do some primary research on that product in that market. They provide some market insights, how the product gets distributed into the market. They'll also do a store check, so they'll go around to different stores and check out the competitors' products and their packaging and sizing and pricing. And the report also provides feedback from importers on the packaging, labeling, size, and taste of your product, as well as a list of potential buyers. The Rep Finder goes a step further, and it's like your own personal trade mission, where our in-market representatives will set up meetings for you with international buyers in the market of your choosing. Typically, these have been done in person, so you'd go over to the market, for example, South Korea, and meet with the buyers. But in this case, in this new age, we have been able to do them virtually as well. Our Food Show Plus service provides additional assistance to exporters at international trade shows, including introduction to qualified buyers, in-market briefings, on-site assistance, retail tours, post-show lead qualification, a virtual consultation so you can learn more about the market before you go, and also a booth assistant, which can double as an interpreter if needed. Buyer's mission are often the easiest route for U.S. suppliers to get started to meet with international buyers. Food Export screens these buyers and brings them over to the United States, most often in conjunction with the U.S. trade show. For example, we have buyer's missions at the fancy food shows in Las Vegas and in New York City, the Natural Products Show in Anaheim in California and in Philadelphia, and at the National Restaurant Association. And those are just a few of them. How it works is that companies view which buyers are attending and then they register. We then set up 20 to 25-minute meetings for you to get introduced to the buyers. They most often happen at the convention center themselves in a separate room. And as you can see here in the top right, companies get a table to set out their product and point of sale materials, and then the buyers rotate around the room according to the meeting schedules. Especially for food and beverage businesses, this is a great way to get buyers to sample the product and see it for themselves in person. For all of our upcoming buyer's missions, you can visit foodexport.org, but I do need to mention an upcoming buyer's mission we have on January 30th in Boston. It's not in conjunction with a trade show. It will just be a day of meetings with a networking lunch. We're bringing about 16 to 18 international buyers to meet with you in a hotel in Boston. So you're welcome to visit our website or email me for more information. We also have focused trade missions. During these missions, we bring roughly 10 to 20 U.S. suppliers over to a certain country. The local Foreign Agricultural Service will give a briefing, there's a retail tour, and one-on-one meetings with foreign buyers. Again, you can visit foodexport.org to see a list of all our events and which markets we have the trade missions in. These are up already for 2023. Our Export Advisor program is a free program to companies looking for a strategic plan on exporting. It is a one-on-one program that you'll work directly with our advisor. This looks a little differently for everyone because it is customized, but most new to export companies, our Export Advisor will do some research, find the top markets for your products, and then suggest ways to get in those markets. From there, the Export Advisor can help you correspond with buyers and any questions that they might have. Virtual consultations and lead qualifications are two of our newer services that are gaining in popularity. Virtual consultations allow you to easily access the knowledge of our in-market representatives. They are most often used for a company to determine if the market is right for them and to continue to pursue it with their time and money. I've sat in on several of these virtual consultations now, and I'm always kind of surprised in what I learn. In one case, I learned that ginseng is a very seasonal item in South Korea and has seasonal fluctuations. And in another case, I learned that Mexico, the consumer prefers a beer can over a bottle, and that having it in a bottle would affect sales. And for that reason, it wasn't a right fit for the company that had done the virtual consultation. Our lead qualification services came from a need from companies to help determine if foreign buyers that they met outside of food export programs are legitimate. Companies can send us the buyer's information, like their business card, and our in-market representatives will vet them for you. Here's some of the additional services that we have. Our U.S. Food Link, it's a newsletter, and it's a great way to keep up with trends and information happening in the agricultural community. Our online product catalog and trade leads are a service provided to companies that have participated with us in our programs and services. When we receive leads from foreign buyers, we look into our online catalog of products and connect them to the suppliers that have those products. We've also had a few showcases in which companies send their products to our in-market representatives who exhibit at an international show. The in-market representatives will sample those products and then collect leads to send to the companies after the show. And our branded program is 50% reimbursement on international marketing. Yes, again, that is 50% reimbursement on international marketing. I'll go over what is eligible in just a minute, but to give you an overview of how the application works, it is a yearly program, so you must submit while we have funding and before the activity happens. We recommend submitting by December 31st, so you can have the entire following year eligible. And we are likely to have funding at this time. It is a reimbursement program, so you must incur all the costs up front. And then after, you will submit your claims, which includes documentation that includes invoices, proof of payment, the photos of the activity that you are submitting for, and any international claim requires the U.S. origin statement, which is a statement such as made in the USA, product of the USA, or made in Connecticut. The minimum reimbursement is $2,500, excuse me, and the maximum reimbursement is $300,000 per year, and that's for all activities, all different markets combined. Companies must be a small or medium-sized organization, and that is by employee count and differs on the type of organization that it is. And it is a requirement for all of our programs is that companies' products must have at least 50% U.S. agricultural content by weight, and that excludes packaging, water, and salt. This essentially means the majority of the product has to be grown in the United States. For example, if a company has a chocolate chip cookie, the product is mostly going to be made of flour and butter, and then might have some chocolate chips in it. If the flour and butter are grown and harvested in the United States, but the chocolate chips are not, that's fine because the chocolate chips only make up a small portion of the product. As far as eligible activities, as you can see here, there's a long list. In the United States, the only thing that is eligible is larger U.S. trade shows that have an international presence. There is a set list for this. Some of the shows include the ones I mentioned earlier, like the fancy food shows, the natural product shows, or outside of the United States, there is a lot that is eligible, and we're going to run through some of those expenses now. Packaging and labeling is our largest expense category right now. Packaging for foreign markets that have certain requirements is eligible for 50% reimbursement. This includes the design, the translation, and the label itself that is eligible for reimbursement. Some countries also allow stickering instead of changing the entire packaging like you see here. And that sticker and the third-party labor to put on the sticker is eligible for reimbursement. Website development for foreign markets is eligible. This includes the design of the website and the translation. And you can see here a few examples of website development, and the U.S. origin statement is clearly listed. Social media is the biggest increasing expense. Social media continues to grow, and advertising, things through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, other various platforms that we might not even have here in the United States. Often the importer will do this for you, or you'll work with another firm to do this for you. Again, we need to see the U.S. origin statement, and it can be incorporated into the ad somehow, like on the left, somewhere in there is product USA or made in the USA in the hashtag. We've also seen a huge increase in videos and the content. People will share this to all different platforms, social media, their own website, YouTube, and other various different platforms. And people get very creative with this, and it's fun to see. Giveaway items like the ones you see here, or the things like pens, stress balls, keychains, are eligible up to $4 per item. And again, you see here, it's made in the USA. We have reimbursed for a variety of different advertising claims, and that includes ones like billboards and these print advertisings here. We've also reimbursed for things, as you see in the bottom right corner, this wrap truck and the billboards that I mentioned here. We've also reimbursed for things for verbal advertising, something like a radio ad. Point of sale materials are popular, whether they be for a trade show claim or on their own. The design and the printing of these are eligible. We've also recently seen them turn into QR codes. While we can't reimburse for slotting fees, we can reimburse for temporary shelf displays like you see here, something that you would see at the end of an aisle or at checkout that helps the product sell quickly. Posters and banners are also eligible if they're used for a trade show or just advertising in a foreign country. Again, you can clearly see the statement, Products of the USA here, or Made in the USA. In-store demonstrations are eligible for reimbursement. We can never reimburse for the cost of your own product, but the supplies like the sampling cups, the spoons, and the displays are eligible. Also, the fees for contractors to hand out the product is eligible, along with what the store is charged to put on the demo. As I mentioned earlier, there's a list of US trade shows that are eligible, and a lot of foreign trade shows are eligible as well if you want to exhibit, or your importer can exhibit on your behalf. If there is a USA pavilion, you must exhibit within the pavilion. That's more the case for international trade shows. There's only a handful of US trade shows that have US pavilions. Visual example of what's eligible to trade show. You can get a booth built as well. Contractor fees are eligible for setting up or taking down the booth, and advertising in relation to the trade show is eligible. And that is all I have. I'm happy to take questions either here, or you can email or call myself or Erin. Yeah, thank you guys.
Excellent. Thank you so much, April. Really appreciate your and Erin's presentation. So I'll remind companies on the bottom right portion of your screen, you'll see a chat feature. So please feel free to type in any questions that you may have. Erin, can I start with you? You may have seen the question that came in regarding the specialty crop grants. The question is, are they specifically for helping Connecticut farmers export, or are they helping to increase production and sales generally? Could you address that for us, Erin?
Sure. So they're not, excuse me, specifically for helping Connecticut farmers export. They have been used in ways that do help with that, but they are to increase sales for the specialty crop market. So anything that is helping to increase sales or help to further the specialty crop industry, those can be used for. And if you visit the USDA website on specialty crop block grant, they do list projects that have been funded, so you can get an idea of the diversity of those projects.
Excellent. Thank you, Erin. Not seeing any other questions at this moment, but so let me ask, I will ask one. And thank you for putting the slide up with the presenter's contact information. So if I'm a company who is producing a product, and I've been making sales in Connecticut, making sales regionally across the US, and have not done anything in exporting, what's the best first place to start?
I can take that. So, well, twofold. It's getting educational resources and getting kind of that knowledge of figuring out how to export and how is it different from my domestic sales. So there's a lot of online tools that we have at Food Export for that. And also getting in front of international buyers. And that doesn't necessarily mean going over to a trade mission, jumping into that right away. You certainly are welcome to do that if there's a market of interest. But there's a lot here in the United States that companies can go to trade shows or buyers mission and see what international buyers think of their product, what markets might be of interest, and kind of learning those conversations and just getting exposure. Really, you got to put yourself out there to learn more about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Apryl.
Yeah,
So-
I was going to recommend that you visit the Food Export website. The webinars and the information available there are really spectacular and can give you a really good idea of your next steps and how to approach exporting. So that would be my recommendation as well.
Excellent. Thanks to you both. I'll do a final check-in to see if there are any questions. I don't see any additional questions in the queue. Erin, Apryl, let me turn it back to you to see if you both have any final comments or final thoughts for the audience members.
I would just say thank you again for taking the time. I hope that the webinar was useful. There was some great information shared, and don't be afraid. I think that as producers are looking at exporting, they're thinking, I can't possibly fill an order for a container load of product, right? That's not necessarily what those buyers are looking for. Sometimes they're looking for a pallet of product to test a product. Take advantage of those opportunities, like Apryl was saying, the Northeast Buyers Mission. There's nothing more valuable than getting feedback from those buyers that want product. And there are a lot of opportunities. So definitely visit the Food Export website. And if you have questions, reach out to Apryl or myself.
Yeah, Erin, you put that very well. The last thing I would add would just be that I've worked with a lot of small businesses where it's the founder of the company that's doing pretty much everything. And maybe there's just 2 people or 1 person at the company, and export is not out of the question, even if you're just a one-man show. It's really about the commitment and finding the right partner internationally. You know, if you work with a broker, they can take a lot of the load for you internationally, so it's not as much of a time commitment. But really, it's taking the step and putting yourself out there and being open to it as well. So thank you so much for having us today. And yeah, as Erin mentioned, please feel free to reach out to us. My contact information is there, and so is Erin's.
Thank you, Apryl. Thank you, Erin. And on behalf of the Department of Commerce, just to reiterate that I'm really pleased we were able to bring together our state and federal partners. So I hope you found the information valuable. We will be sending the recording of the program as well as PDFs of the PowerPoints. And again, to reiterate, definitely encourage you to reach out to both Erin and Apryl to help you along your exporting agricultural goods journey. So thank you again and have a great afternoon.